Is it possible to make an adventure when you're not even sure what game you'll be playing next? Hey everybody, sometimes I think it's important to remember how much power and creative freedom we have. A billionaire or a corporation may come along and make the world worse through greed and hubris, and that can really get you down sometimes, for sure. And I think it's important to go and make our voices heard and support the things we care about, vote with our dollars, but it's also important, empowering, potentially even like therapeutic, an act of self-care to take matters into our own hands and remember we can do it ourselves. So today I'm sharing an adventure that you can use with any system. Welcome back to the Verdigris Table. I'm Ryan Doyle, and at the time of this recording, it feels a little bit like Dungeons and Dragons, the whole ecosystem is on fire. And while I'm sure we'll inevitably talk more about that, in this video, I'm gonna walk you through my latest dungeon to hopefully spread a little inspiration, kindle some creativity. I want to help remind myself and everybody watching how the DIY spirit is just built into the core of this community, and that you can make awesome stuff even when you're not 100% sure what system you might end up running next. The kickoff of Dungeon 23 feels like forever ago, but I'm recording this on January 11th. It's been a long year already, gang. The concept is to make one room a day, a light little creative practice, and at the end of the year, you'll have a mega dungeon. And it was like the main thing I was thinking about, we were talking about, it was like a week ago. Check out this for a primer and some great resources if you're interested in that. But here, I wanted to demonstrate how like flexible and adaptable things can be when you make them yourself. So I've broken off my top little sub-level and made it into like an introductory one-shot in case, maybe you're testing out a new game or maybe even trying your hand at running things for the very first time. I encourage you to go make your own stuff so you feel a little more insulated from the whims of some high-level executive in a corporation somewhere. But I'm also going to share this one with my patrons, so if you have some silver to spare and you want to support what we're doing here and keep the content coming, I will share the link down below in the description. Without further ado, this is the first level of my mega dungeon in progress, Warden Cliff. The first room I actually created for this space is way down below this stuff and acts as a sort of hub connecting a lot of the levels. And while I might show the players these like sealed, massive double doors set into the base of the cliff amidst the ruins of a once prosperous city, they're gonna have to climb to the top and start from this gnome section that connects down to it. Now, the gnomes originally built this part of the structure to receive big folk from the city down below and elsewhere, so much of this place is scaled to accommodate our characters. It's actually like a pretty grand scale, with high ceilings in this first entrance room, and wide double doors leading to the even more spacious throne room. There's still a little daylight making its way down the stairs from the surface, so we can barely make out like the mosaics and murals, frescoes, depicting friendships between the gnomes and various other peoples in here. However, if the characters want to see well beyond this room, they're going to need to light up the darkness, which will inevitably disturb the swarms of bats who are roosting up there and cause them to attack and scatter out the entranceway. And once the dust settles, a little look around this room will uncover that many of the gnomes depicted here have been defaced, literally. The characters might not know it yet, but this is the handiwork of the Cobalts who have laid claim to this place. There actually very well may be one keeping an ear pressed to that secret door, and if they are paying attention and the characters aren't careful, that Cobalt may go running down this whole network of secret tunnels to alert its allies that company has arrived. Now, all of these halls were originally built by the gnomes to help them mobilize a defense and to spy on visiting emissaries. I'm not going to go into the whole larger backstory here, but there were times when the gnomes were more trusting and eras when they had reasons to be paranoid of the big folk. These halls were not intended for those big folk and have 4-foot ceilings, so your average size humanoid is going to have to stoop down and move a little slower in here, and they'll have to travel single file while the kobolds can double up on whoever's in front or at the back, because these guys know every little secret door in this place and they're going to use them to their best advantage to get a drop on the party. That's actually what happened already in room 2. The door has been wedged shut by an iron spike, but our heroes can brute force their way in. Originally sort of like a front parlor or like a waiting reading room before visitors were granted an audience in the main chamber. A previous adventuring party set up camp in here and made a campfire using some of the old furniture. One member never left, and their remains are lying here, though they've already been looted. Clever players might piece the clues together and figure out there's likely another way into this room, but the secret doors in here are cleverly made and challenging to find, so they'll likely be heading into room 3 next, where we've got the centerpiece of this place, where columns rise up to a vaulted ceiling, framing the gnome throne up on the raised dais. A little examination of that reveals a button on the arm of the throne that unleashes bolts of electricity from the columns, zapping everybody within 10 feet of one. Do the players discover that button before the giant spider drops down from its web high above? Do some of them inadvertently get electrocuted in the discovery? What about that unlucky, unconscious adventurer from before, cocooned to a column with spider silk? I don't know, but I'm excited for you to find out. One way or another, the throne room is going to see some action, and that's likely going to alert the squad of Cobalts peeping in through like spy holes from room 4. This was sort of like the command center of this upper level of Gnome Burrow, where the guard assembled, the spies organized, there's lockers along one wall, and the Cobalts have looted nearly everything to add to their pile, but there are a few gadgets that harness like elemental forces that they have missed. Now, you see the Cobalts in here are amassing a hoard of treasure so that they can attract a dragon. That is why it's easy for adventurers to enter here. Adventurers carry gold and gear, magic items. These Cobalts have gathered nearly enough to begin their ritual of summoning, and another party of dungeon delvers should just about do it. And then they're going to start playing their simple, syncopated music that will call out to the dragon. If they succeed, that will be bad news for everybody in the neighborhood. And I can't tell you why, but I woke up the other morning and I decided that these Cobalts in my world make music uncannily similar to old school reggae. Don't ask what they're making their instruments out of, though. The Cobalts here are not assigned to rooms because they don't just sit around waiting for our heroes to come and kill them. They're going about their lives in here. This is their home, after all. So instead of putting them like in the key, I've created a little table of Cobalt squads. Some of them are more threatening than others. Some of them have magic items that aren't just treasure, but things they'll try to use against the party. And one group is sneaking around setting up traps. I made a little trap table as well with some fun, simple obstacles and hazards. I imagine that the Cobalts could set up quickly, both in front of the party but also behind them. The idea isn't to defend this place and stop the heroes from getting in, it's to kill them and take their stuff. So if and when they try to make it back out of this place, rooms that they've already cleared may be defended or trapped or both. You can distribute these traps in the squads of Cobalts in your prep, or you can roll on the table as you play to keep things random, or pick and choose as taste and tempo suggests in the moment. The one permanent trap the gnomes made is in room 5. Passing through a door behind the throne, those in the know would hug the walls here, while other potentially unwelcome intruders would likely step out onto the illusory floor in the middle and fall into a pit trap. Falling damage for sure, but more intended as like containment, as getting out is not easy. There is an access hatch from the secret tunnels as well, which is how the gnomes would collect those who fell in. Now, the Cobalts might line this pit with spikes if they know it's on. A lot of the Cobalts are actually hanging out in room 6, which is a natural cavern that connects to the 4-foot-tall tunnels. There's usually like 2 squads in here, plus their growing pile of treasure. The rest of the Cobalts have all laid claims to the various guest rooms, which I've labeled all 8s. They come and go through those secret doors, rarely using the hallways off of room 7. And I really like room 7. It was built as like the transitional space between the areas meant to welcome visitors and the rest of Gnome Burrow. The ceiling slopes downward so that well before it reaches the stairs, it's leveled out at a 4-foot height, making kneeling or even crawling the only way for like your average humanoids to move through here. For the purposes of this map, I filled that stairway with rubble and made it impassable, but in like the mega dungeon proper, those steps are going to lead down to the next level. I hope you run this one and have a blast with these trap-laying, gizmo-wielding Cobalts, and that your players get a lot of joy and fear out of uncovering all the secrets packed into this little dungeon. Whatever system you use to run it, I'd love to hear about it down in the comments below. to pick up your copy of this adventure, including a Dungeon Master and a player's map, so you can pop it into whatever VTT that you enjoy, come on over and join us on Patreon. Like and subscribe to follow along for the next adventure, and maybe check out this video next. Thanks so much for watching, be kind, have fun, and I'll see you next time.